Controller players, do not panic. We still have our aimbot. They may take our legacy, but they'll never take our aim assist. Ladies and gentlemen, Fortnite just tweeted this right here. With the improvements we've made to aim assist, we plan to remove the use legacy look control setting on March 13th. To use the new settings and maintain your legacy settings, select copy from legacy in the controller options and toggle off use look legacy controls. Now, guys, I don't even know where to start with this, but I'm going to give you as many tips as possible on what to do if you're a legacy player, or what this means even if you're linear exponential players in general, and we're going to go into settings and everything in this video. Oh, controller, man, always bailing me out.
What the hell?
Oh my god. So first of all, Fortnite is absolutely wrong when they say just copy your settings from legacy. We tried that in the past when I first switched over from legacy to linear. For those of you that don't know, I am a linear player. That's not what you should do when you're doing controller settings. You don't just switch on over to copy from legacy. It doesn't work. I'm just telling you right now, as a controller player who's been on linear for a while, that does not work at all, and the settings are not going to feel great for you whether you switch to linear or exponential. Also, not that this is really going to do anything, but Epic Games, please give linear and exponential players a scope sensitivity. You have it right now on legacy. We need a scope sensitivity. Guys, tweet Epic, do whatever. We need to get their attention and let them know we need a scope sensitivity, because right now it's nearly impossible to snipe on linear or exponential. And also there's just maybe a scoped AR coming back in the game, and we don't have anything to really customize our scope sensitivity. Now let's get into controller settings on linear. We're gonna start off with linear because that's what I play right now. Exponential is also a good option. I think there are some really good controller players who play on exponential, but if you're switching over from legacy, most people use linear. So let's start up top. Now you're gonna want your horizontal and your vertical speeds to be a little staggered if you're around 50% on your vertical and your horizontal. I'd recommend starting around 50% and having your horizontal a little bit lower. The way the linear curves work is when they're down at like 50%, your vertical actually needs to be around 50 to be able to hit headshots with your hip fire. So that's what I highly recommend that right there. Now, I also have a turning boost of 4% on both of these. You don't have to have a turning boost, but if you're lower around 50%, let's say you're at like 60 to whatever percent, in that case, you're not going to need a turning boost. But right now, my sensitivity is pretty low, so I can accurately hit hip fire shots. So I need that turning boost to be able to hit turnaround 360 shots and things of that nature. And the turning boost ramp time basically just ensures whenever I push the stick all the way to the right or the left, that boost doesn't kick in for 0.20 seconds, or it gradually goes up over that 0.20 seconds. So it's not like I'm just getting from 52 to 56% like right away like that. Now, I do recommend having your build and edit mode sensitivities multipliers as high as possible. I've seen some controller players go up as far as 2.7. I'm working my way up that high. Right now I'm at 2.1 and 2.3 and gradually going up. So I would recommend putting that up as high as you possibly can. Now, when it comes to ADS, this is where I feel like most legacy players are going to struggle because they're so used to L2 spamming and all of that. And I'm sorry guys, RIP to L2 spam. You are in our thoughts and prayers. But we gotta hop into ADS here. Now, I also have my ADS vertical slightly higher than my horizontal. I don't know if it's a placebo thing, but I feel like I aim a lot better and I can hit more headshots when I have that. But I like to do a very low ADS look on horizontal and vertical, and then a decently high boost with a pretty mediocre boost ramp time. So basically what this does is at very long ranges, I can go slow and I can hit my shots accurately. But if somebody is like gliding and I push my stick all the way to the right or the left, that boost time helps me catch up to them and lets that aim assist kind of hold on to them and stick and track them pretty well. Now, look dampening is something if you're a linear player, you want this at 0. Maybe even if you're an exponential player, you might want this at 0. It basically just adds this little bit of time before your sticks register for anything, and I would just recommend having it at 0. If you are just switching over from legacy, maybe you want to try 0.03 seconds and then move down all the way to 0, like gradually, because it's probably not going to feel really good at 0 right away because you're used to legacy movement. Now on the move stick and the look stick, some people say that you want these to where you're getting stick drift. I have to disagree with that. You want to be right above where you're getting stick drift with these. That's where I've had the most success with this. But again, it's whatever feels comfortable to you guys. So just adjust these as low as you possibly can to where it doesn't feel like you're getting stick drift. Now it's time to talk about exponential settings, because I think if you're coming straight over from legacy, you should probably start on exponential before you even consider linear. You honestly might like it better since it uses the same look curve, but let's dive into the exponential settings. So first of all, your X and your Y need to be up a little bit higher. These can probably be close to what you had them on legacy, in all honesty. You just put these right around whatever you had them on legacy, maybe a little bit lower, and you should be fine there. And then 0 boost, 0 ramp time for exponential. You don't really need boost, especially once you start raising these values up, and the boost is really going to mess you up with that curve. You might be able to get away with like 2% or lower. That might be okay, but really you don't really need boost whenever you're using exponential settings. Now you need your 2.2 to 2.4. Anywhere over 2.0 on your build and edit settings is really going to treat you well for still editing and building decently fast. But remember, you're not getting that linear sticky movement, just very, very fast movement. So you're going to need maybe even a little higher build and edit. These are the settings I play on whenever I try exponential. And then on the ADS side of things, you got 13%, 13%, 0 boost, 0 ramp time, anything like that. These are the settings that have worked really, really well for my aim on exponential. And I've seen them work similarly for a lot of pros that play on exponential. So I would just recommend trying, maybe not just copying these settings, but doing whatever works for you guys. And then I forgot to make this change too, but I usually lower my dead zones to around right around 9.7 whenever I switch over to exponential. So I also lower my dead zones since you get a little bit of that slower stick movement whenever you're first moving with the dead zones. Here's a look at this tracking on exponential settings. As you guys can see, the tracking is still, it feels extremely smooth. Maybe a little slow. I could probably up my ADS maybe like 1% more, but like you guys can see this, the tracking is just still unbelievable. Here's a look at the tracking on linear right here. Again, I even have this on 6 and 7% on linear tracking, but you guys just see like it feels so nice even at 100 meters away right now. Like, you guys are going to be, even if you're legacy players, it might take you a second to adapt, but really, this won't be too bad for you guys. In all seriousness, I know in the past that I've recommended linear over and over again. People have even memed in my comments like, Rodey, linear, linear, linear. Like just saying how much I talk about linear. But I kind of suspected this to happen for a long, long time. The second they released linear and exponential look settings and they called it the new look settings, I assumed that they were going to remove legacy, and I'm surprised it took them this long to do it. I don't know if you guys are going to be happy about that, if you're going to be upset about it, if you're a legacy player. I understand that, but I kind of thought this was coming for a long, long time, which is why I really wanted to look into linear and exponential so I could give you guys good tips on what to use for those settings. Now, one thing is I do need to look more into exponential settings. I absolutely know that. So maybe I'll do a good exponential guide coming up here soon where I completely test out exponential, see what's working for the pros, and give you guys some tips on that. So let me know if you'd like to see that, and let me know if you were using legacy and what are you going to switch to? Are you going to switch to linear, or are you going to switch to exponential? Personally, I feel like mouse and keyboard players are still going to be a little upset about linear and exponential aim assist because yes, they can be broken at times, but I think this is a great step in the right direction of making the game a little bit more balanced. I know Controller Army, believe me, I'm a member of the controller gang, but L2 was broken. You can't even deny that. Tracking through walls, cornfields, everything like that. L2 snapping to heads, it was pretty broken, and I know some people are going to be upset with me for saying that, and that's absolutely fine. You guys have every right to be mad or upset, whatever it may be. I mean, if those were the settings you were using, if I was using those settings and they got faulted, I'm sure I would be upset too. So I completely understand, but controller gang, I think we're going to be absolutely fine. If you guys guys try out Legacy, you have any questions for linear or exponential, anything like that, let me know down below in the comments. Hit me up on Discord, anywhere like that, and I'll try to help you guys out as much as possible. If you made it all the way to the end, please throw up an RIP to the L2 gang. It's been a tough run. It's been a tough run for him. And honestly, I don't know if this is going to really make a lot of people mad or how it's going to be. So fingers crossed.